I hope everybody's very well. For those of you that are in the United States, I hope that you're all staying warm and you have plenty of supplies and your heating systems are working. I saw so many stories of people that froze to death and experienced the effects of extreme cold. It was quite scary and shocking how, once again, it shows us how fragile our quote unquote stability is. In fact, in the teachings it says there's nothing in this world that's truly stable, except of course Buddha nature. But all the other things are completely unstable, and every once in a while they'll give us a sense of stability, but in fact none of those things are truly reliable. I always remember one time I was with Soxy Rinpoche in Denver, Colorado, probably 5 years ago, and every time I go to the United States, I'm so amazed by the abundance, the wealth, the comfort that people enjoy. And I was in the bathroom at the same time as Soxy Rinpoche, and I turned on the water for him to wash his hands. And this, abundant supply of clean water that you can drink, you can bathe with it, you can wash with it, came out of the tap. And Soxy Rinpoche was washing his hands, and he turned, and it's very interesting because at the time I was just thinking, how everything works so nicely, and there's hot water and there's cold water and there's lots of soap. Like here you go in a public bathroom, a lot of times, there's no soap at all. Maybe there's only cold water, but there's completely set up. And he's washing his hands, and he looked at me. He said, "The karma of the United States is impermanent. At some point, it's going to change." And he kind of cut this bubble I had of how wonderful everything was there, and he wasn't picking on the United States. He was reminding me that anywhere we go that we find these bubbles of stability and comfort and wealth and abundance, it's impermanent. At some point it will change. So I don't think that he was prophesizing the tragedies that took place in Texas and Oklahoma or the tragedies in Seattle or Washington, D.C., but they are reminders that all of these little God realms that we create are impermanent and unstable, and we can't really take refuge in them. So we're reading the Red Tower Commentary, and we're in the prayers for accomplishment. On page 56 it says in the text, "Whosoever sees me, hears me, touches me, or remembers me." Did I read that last week? Let me see. Well, if I did, I didn't mark it, so we'll read it again. "Whosoever sees me, hears me, touches me, or remembers me," refers to the four means by which enlightened beings can bring about liberation. For us, this may now seem overreaching, but once we attain enlightenment, these become the four avenues by which the potential of our Buddha nature resonates with and helps to reveal the Buddha nature of sentient beings. Without relying on the power of magnetizing, how could one gain the necessary qualities to care for others? That statement asks how, if we are devoid of the power to turn others' minds in a positive direction and instill in them some aspiration towards spiritual development, we can influence and care for them. The source of this charismatic power is compassion, love, and the warmth of truly beneficial intention. With all the power of our heart, we wish for the well-being and ultimate enlightenment of others impartially, regardless of whether they are positive or negative, friends or enemies, virtuous or not. The goal is for samsara to be emptied of all beings without exception. So a lot of times we when we're doing Tara practice, Tara, one of her principal qualities is she has this quality of magnetizing. And some people think that there's some kind of a magic that takes place with magnetizing, but it's not a magic. It's very simply put in this. For example, we can put it this way. When we're around somebody that really loves us and really wants what's best for us, we feel so comfortable with that person. And we never want to leave their side if we find somebody like that. Maybe it's your mother, maybe it's been a professor that took good care of you, maybe it's your Lama. But you around a person like that, you sense that their motivation is so pure, they don't have any interest in themselves. They truly want what's best for you, and they truly love you. Then you always want to be around that person. That is simply what means magnetizing. And they say that there are a number of ways that we magnetize. First of all, love and compassion magnetizes. Secondly, speaking in a peaceful, harmonious way magnetizes. Thirdly, practicing generosity, being generous with our time, with our possessions, with our wealth, also magnetizes. So those are many different ways that we can magnetize. And we don't magnetize to become famous YouTubers or celebrities or become rich and famous. We magnetize effortlessly to bring people to the Dharma. That's the point, to help people find liberation. Some great masters like Rinpoche were just so incredibly magnetizing. Wherever they would go, it was almost like iron filings being drawn to a magnet. People would just surround them. Zonzar Chensa Rinpoche is very much that way. Just has this incredible magnetizing presence. And that's something that occurs through Dharma practice, and specifically through the practice of Tara. And also, Tara specifically helps create a magnetizing power of speech, where naturally you enjoy listening to the person speak. There's something melodious about their voice. Their form of communication is interesting and engaging, almost in some cases hypnotic. An example of that would be Zonzar Chensa Rinpoche again. Many people say that he has a hypnotic quality of speech, which is simply another way of saying a magnetizing quality of speech, that when you listen to him, things make so much sense, you have so many insights, you don't want him to stop talking, which is quite an unusual and amazing quality. And just as I came in the tent this morning, Lama Yeshe was talking to Valeria here, and she said something that was so profound. Of course I've heard it, but every once in a while, like the coin drops, we say. So when we're talking about wishing for the well-being and ultimate enlightenment of others impartially, whether they're positive or negative, friends or enemies, virtuous or not, in this day and age, we can get so caught up in the negativity of beings. If we just turn on the news or watch a movie or look at popular culture, there's just so much negativity and so much negative thoughts and negative speech and negative actions and non-virtue that we feel bombarded by it. And very often we can start to get a kind of a aversion for our fellow humans. And I just heard Lama Yeshe mention to Valeria this morning that it's so important to remember that a doctor doesn't want to eliminate the patient. The doctor wants to eliminate the disease. We have to separate the disease from the patient. So we shouldn't be upset or angry at humans that their minds have been captivated by negativity and negative emotions and wrong views. We should be focused on eliminating those wrong views and negativities and non-virtuous thoughts, speech, and actions. That's what we should be focused on. We shouldn't have aversion for beings. We should have aversion for non-virtue that we eliminate through practice, we eliminate through the Dharma, and we make that distinction. Anyway, at the moment when she said that, it was so so nice for me to hear that. Something clicked for me, so I thought I'd share that with you this morning.